games that's doing reviews now. So hey guys, I picked up the Sonic Shadows Generations, and to be honest with you, of course I liked the game because I played it on 360 and PS3, but I wasn't feeling the shadow stages, man. Y'all like, what? That's the whole purpose as to why I picked up the game. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. With all the stuff they try to add with Shadow, to me, really just took away from that same experience that I got with Sonic Generations. To be honest with you, I was expecting more of the same thing with Shadow, except this time you're doing it with his stages. But it got all this post-apocalyptic crap and slashing. I'm like, bro, like all I want to do is run run around the stage like Sonic. Now if they did something similar like Sonic Adventure, where he could have his little chaos control and all that, but if it was structured the same way, like with Sonic Generations, then I probably more likely would have enjoyed it. But when I played Shadows, I'm like, man, what is this garbage, bro? You got all this slowed down combat. Yeah, you could run through some of the stages in some aspects, but it just didn't feel the same, man. For anybody that has played Sonic Generations and played Shadows, you could tell the difference. Even though the structure may be similar, you could just tell like there's something off about it. But hey, I did enjoy Sonic Generations. It was a great game. I loved it back on the PS3 and 360. The game visually still looks well. I think it looks even more enhanced than it did back in the days. Even on the Nintendo Switch, man, the grass, woo, it looked really good, man. So like I said, man, I guess that's the end of the video because the shadow portion was garbage, bro. You know what I mean? I just wish it was more aligned with, Sonic Generations. Like, okay, it's just Sonic Generations with Shadow, which a lot of you people might say, well, that's what it is. It's not. The gameplay is very different. It has similarities, of course, because it is a Sonic the Hedgehog game, but it's just like a lot of slowed down sections where you're fighting enemies and, oh, you do that in Generations too, though. Yes and no. Enemies are more of like a placeholder. Like essentially, enemies in Generations, or should I say every Sonic game, it's just enemies that are in the way. Does that make sense? I know it's kind of hard to explain because some people could say the same thing about Shadows. But in Shadows, it's like you feel inclined to fight these enemies. You know what I mean? I just wasn't feeling it, bro. Like, I feel like you have to play it so you can understand where I'm coming from, because I think a lot of people are going to be sitting there saying, oh, you capping, Gamester, you capping. It's the same game, except Shadow's got a little bit more features. He got the chaos control. He can slow down time. He can do all that, which is cool. I didn't mind all that, those aspects, but I was kind of expecting Shadows just with Sonic Generations gameplay. That's all I really wanted, and pacing. Sonic Generations, the pacing is incredible from the 2D to the 3D stages. I just felt like the pacing was so horrible with Shadow, man. It really was, man. Like, as much as you people might want to downplay because you're like, oh, look at that, we got this expansion pack, but I wasn't feeling it, man. And hopefully, if any of you guys picked the game up yourself and tried it, you could tell me, hey, man, I liked it. Maybe I'm going to have to disagree with you, but I didn't like it. And what's even more funny, I'm a huge fan of Shadow. I like this Sonic Adventure because all they did in Sonic Adventure 2 was have essentially Sonic stages and Shadow stages that all play very similar to each other, which I enjoyed. You feel me? I did not play. This was like picking up Shadow the Hedgehog. Like, it really was. Like, back in the days, it felt like playing that. And to be honest with you, I think that game is better. Oh, makes now you people don't want to pick up the game for Shadows. Hey, still pick up the game. It's still a great. Also, too, there's a few things that I've seen that were missing in Generations. So you guys know the Sega Genesis that they had in the Green Hill Zone. Apparently, that was removed. I think they put some casino, pinball machine. There's probably a few other secrets that I haven't encountered yet, but I do think the Sega Genesis has been removed, which I don't know why they did that. I really don't know why they removed that. And also, too, the rogue back cleavage, bro. Don't listen to these people, bro. I played the game. You can still somewhat see it, bro. Like, even if they covered it, you can still see it, bro. So all these people out here complaining, talking about wokey woke, bro, y'all got to get out of here with this one because y'all clearly lied, bro. I can still kind of see it. So it doesn't completely take away from the character like I originally thought when we were seeing these videos and screenshots of Rogue the Bat. So don't let that deter you from picking up the game. Like I said, man, if you like Sonic Generations, more than likely you're going to like this. Now, do I think the $50 price tag was warranted? I would probably go as far to say it should have been $29.99. $29.99 digital, $40 physical. I'm not saying, well, people say it's just a $10 difference, but yeah, I just feel like to charge $50 for this game and not to really have that much, unless you're paying for shadows, unless their whole idea was like, okay, let's add this shadow storyline so we can push that $10. Okay, in that case, that can make sense. But to be honest with you, I wasn't feeling the shadow stages, bro. I wasn't, and I got the day one edition, so I get to play the game as the Sonic Adventure skin from the Dreamcast, which I did enjoy. I love when games do that. They did it with Tomb Raider as well, where you can play as the old classic character models. Um, yeah, I don't know. You know, like I said, man, if you're a Sonic, if you're a Sonic mega fan, you're gonna love this game. You might even find some enjoyment with the shadow stages, but me personally, I did not like them. I know I keep going back to this point. I just didn't like them. Now, they do have like this open area section where you can kind of travel a little bit. I mean, it's kind of stupid to be honest with you, but you can kind of travel and go to these little zones. Um, I mean, I kind of preferred it in Sonic Generations. I like the 2D plane, and it was so easy to get to where you need to go. But I think since they added a few things, I don't know, they just wanted to do something weird and different with it. You know, like, oh, you can actually roam and go to these sections, which is very similar. It's like Sonic Generations had it. You was doing it through 2D, and in this game, essentially, you're doing it through 3D, if that makes sense, right? So I guess to each their own, whatever way you prefer. You know what I mean? Maybe some people like the open world aspect of it. I kind of prefer the 2D aspect. Like I said, man, I was just expecting Shadow just to be like Sonic Generations. I was not expecting Shadow to be this whole other game. You feel me? Like, I really wasn't feeling it. And y'all like, well, you like Shadow the Hedgehog. That's a very different. But it just felt better. It felt way better design, in my personal opinion, than what they did with this game, even though they took similarities. Because I just feel like the combat, whatever they tried to do to try to differentiate this from Sonic Generations, in my opinion, is what made that portion worse. You know what I mean? Sonic Generations was always a great game. They should have just built on that formula and kept it very similar to Shadows. You know, what's even more crazy, it would have been better if you was going through a lot of the stages that Shadow was going through. There was a lot of different sections as well. I thought that was corny. I thought they were going to just have all the Dreamcast, like Radical Highway. I think they do in some cases. But, like, done, like, through the Dreamcast fashion. See, with Sonic Generations, a lot of the stages are done in the same way that these games used to play back in the days. So you can look at it and be like, oh, it's just more of a modern take of the 2D stages from Sonic the Hedgehog, or even the 3D ones, which that's what I enjoyed. I didn't really feel that with Shadow the Hedgehog, even though there was some of the same stages from the Dreamcast version of Sonic Adventure 2. I didn't feel it. I know it's kind of hard to explain. It just didn't feel the same. It didn't feel like a modern take. It felt like one of those Sonic Frontier games where you're running through this. That's exactly how it felt. I'm going to be honest with you. No, I'm going to be honest with you. It felt like those Sonic Frontier stages that you do in those games, like the speed stages where people's like capping, oh yeah, looking for Frontier still got the action. That's how it felt like. Y'all like, oh wow, that, you know what? Go look at Frontier's gameplay and go look at the Shadow Stages gameplay. It all looks the same. And I think the only reason why Sonic Generations even was so good, because this game was made back then. It was made with love. It was made with passion. But when you look at Shadows, you're like, yeah, this was definitely templated off Sonic Frontiers. Like, it's really that embarrassing, man. To be honest, actually, I'm starting to see the similarities now. Now, I'm not talking about the open world gameplay of Sonic Frontiers. I'm mostly speaking on behalf of the action stages in Sonic Frontiers, where there's really not much going on. There's nothing really visually to look at. You're just kind of running through these little sections that look kind of separated and stuff, but it doesn't look like there's nothing going on. Like, if you look at Sonic Generations, you can see Green Hill Zone and you can see everything else in the background. Shadow, it's not like that. Everything's just kind of structured. Everything's kind of like you see everything in a straight line, and that's it. Everything else around is all this mystical, creepy fog, purple. It's like okay, I get it, but I mean, it just shows you that they didn't put that much time and love and passion to create that game. You know what I mean? Like I said, it was good. You know, I think I got another good point. I think another element that they messed up on is that they should have added the 3DS stages. Yeah, Sonic Generations, why did you not add the 3DS stages? Because if you guys don't know, the 3DS version of Sonic Generations has different stages. Why did they not add that? It seems like all they did was port the PS3 and 360 version to the Switch, to the PS5, and then the Xbox One and Series X. But y'all didn't even take the 3DS thing. Now that, in my opinion, would have been worth the money. Modernizing the 3DS stages. Maybe we can get that through a DLC, guys, if you guys can talk about it. Maybe y'all talk about it somewhere, and maybe maybe they might say, hey, let's add it. You know, that should have been in there, man. This should have been the ultimate package of Sonic Generations, and yet we still didn't get one. You know, the more and more I keep talking about the game, the more and more I start realizing, like, hold on, there's a lot of complaints that can be made here. Where's the 3DS stages? You know, like, well, it wasn't in the original game, though. But it would have been nice to see in 2D, 3D, you know what I mean, on modern hardware. Because that I have it. I have Sonic Generations for the 3DS, and it would have been amazing. It would have been a whole fresh new take with better graphics and everything. So I'm gonna tell you something, man. Y'all like, yo, what's the review score, Gamester? What's the reviews? What's the score, man? You know you gotta hit it with the score. Let me see. I really want to give it an 8, but I kind of can't. I'm gonna be honest with you. I love Sonic Generations because Sonic Generations was a great game, but I feel like they definitely dropped the ball in a lot of departments. I'm going to be honest with you. The more and more I keep thinking about this game, the more and more... I don't hate the game, guys. I want to let you... I love Sonic Generations, but I'm just saying they didn't... To add to the overall package, because all these reviewers are... Oh, have you noticed IGN and everybody's like, oh, look at that. The game is great. It's a 9 out of 10. Oh, wow. But y'all don't want to sit there and talk about the real problems of this game. And this is why I try to do the content that I do, so I can inform you guys on the realness. You see how everybody's running off with this 9 out of 10 game, yet IGN didn't give it back in the days, even though Sonic was pretty good back then, even with Unleashed. But now they want to give it a 9 and 10 out of something. Maybe it has more to do with those Sonic movies. I don't know. But like I said, these casuals, they can't make up their mind on things. I'm going to have to give this... Oh, man. I'd probably say... I'm harsh, man. I'm going to let y'all know I'm harsh. I'm going to probably give it a 6.5. Y'all like, what? A 6.5? IGN gave it a 9. Nah, I'm going to have to give it a 6.5. Because the problem is the negatives outweigh the positives, man. Like I said, where's the Sonic the Hedgehog game? And, you know, people's like, oh, well, you don't need that. You can just buy the archive. Doesn't matter. It should have been there. Where's the 3DS stages? They talk about it as Sonic Generations. You could have found a way to add the 3DS version of that game and modernize it. Now that, I would have definitely gave it an 8. Just off that alone. Keyword, off that alone. Then we're talking about the Shadow stages, which happen to be underwhelming in my personal opinion. The game is a 6.5. That's exactly what it is, man. It's a great game. If you're buying it for Sonic Generations and that's it, you're perfectly fine. But everything else that I mentioned is a huge problem with this game. You do have some form of censorship. You do have some form of these other aspects. Not the biggest problems, not saying, but they're still there, right? It's a 6.5. I think that's pretty fair. Maybe to some people it might be a 7, but to me that's actually pretty fair. You know, that is pretty fair because, like I said, that 3DS stage is not being in there, man, really kind of, you know, like I said, and it makes the game feel the same. People's like, well, it would have made the game feel the same if you had the 3DS stages. Yes and no. Because then the 3DS stages would have had HD graphics. The 3DS stages would have had better graphics. And it would have also increased the overall value of your package. Well, that's why we got Shadow. You know what, bro? Let me tell you something. Like, because I love to act like the fanboy that always wants to defend these games. Keep the Shadows and give me the Sonic Generations. All right? Give me that. Give me the ultimate Sonic Generations package. That's what I would have preferred. That Shadows, y'all like, wow, now this man's dissing it. He's doing it like, what's that dude's name? Speed, when he was listening to KSI song. Remember how he's like, oh yeah, to the queen, to the king, to the pen, to the ring of my dog. Like, now I'm out here. Get that crap out of here. This Sonic Generations trash, man. This game is garbage. Now I'm doing it because I'm telling you, this game is not like... They should have had the 3DS stages, man. I'm telling you. If they had that, that would have increased the value of the game. It would increase the overall package. The Shadows crap, get it out of here, bro. I'm telling you, I would have took the Sonic Generations 3DS stages, and there you go. What's a remaster? You know, I don't want to hear it, bro. Sega did not put no love in this game like you think, man. All they did was take the PS3 and 360 version and port it over. Y'all know it, man. Stop capping for this game, man. I like Sonic, but come on, man. Y'all capping. I think real Sonic fans would be like, yo, Gamester, that's a good point, though. That's a good point. That's a good point that a lot of reviewers ain't touching up on. That's a lot of good points. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I still enjoy it because I like Sonic Generations, but it didn't really add anything significant to the overall package. It would have been nice to even see a little bit more stages. You know what I'm saying? They didn't really do that, man. They used the shadow as a front, just so they could push you guys to buy the game. And to be honest with you, shadow stages feel like Sonic Frontier action stages. But hopefully you guys enjoy this video, man. It's official. The game is a 6.5 to me. Hopefully you guys enjoy the review score. And if it's not to your liking, please let me know in the comment section. Take care. Peace out.